Today we're going to be talking about probably one of my favorite places in France, which was a surprise to me, partly because of, typical ignorance of Paris is France, right? And while I've already been to quite a few places in France before this trip, I'd never really found a city that I loved so much. I love Paris, but for different reasons. Nantes was a lot like Austin. My husband and I met in Austin, Texas, and it's like this little liberal bubble where people think about future, technology, research, art, uniqueness, holding on to little weird tidbits of their city and leaning into their weirdness. Keep Austin weird was a theme for a long time. I don't know if it is or not. I haven't been back to Austin in quite a long time, which I'm sad about. But Nantes is a lot like Austin. Or if you've ever had the privilege to go to Huntsville, Alabama, it's a lot like Huntsville. We lived there for a short time, and one of my favorite places was Low Mills, and this was back when it was just kind of budding. It's very popular now. This is how Nantes felt. Nantes felt like a combination of Huntsville, Alabama, with the high intelligence, science, and a little quirkiness, and iconic things within their city. And the Low Mills, artsy, using old buildings for something new way. And then it was a lot like Austin, where it was very unique. It held on to the things that made it unique and weird, like Keep Austin Weird. Right now, Nantes is very popular for the Machines de Lîle, which is this amazing engineering, arts, science combination within the city. It's in this giant warehouse with animals made from machines. Now that I've told you about kind of the vibe of Nantes, of how I've seen it based on my own experience, let me tell you about Nantes so you can get a better idea and add this to your list, especially if you're traveling with kids. Remember, we had just taken a ferry to Rayon to maybe see the Cordouan lighthouse, which we didn't do, and we pressed forward, but we were still a day ahead for our campsite reservation. While I called ahead to see if maybe we could just add another day on, they were just full, and I understand why. I'll get to that in a minute. Instead, we stayed in an air. I'd kind of gotten the hang of this van life air thing over here in France. I do feel like it is different in each country. One, they have different rules. Some places allow you to boondock, and other places are very strict about it. And I also feel like the airs are also very different. It's not called airs everywhere, but RV rest stops are different everywhere. So I've kind of gotten the hang of it by now. And we stayed at an air purposely just outside of the city. So it was a bigger gas station. It had a bookshop, souvenirs, cafe, restaurant. Yes, they were separate things. And showers, bathroom, playground, big parking lot where you felt like you had more privacy when you were staying over the night, separate from people just stopping through and getting gas. Loved it. Perfect. This is also where I bought my book about butter. I don't know why when I saw this book, I was like, I need this. My French reading level is nowhere near being ready to cook, okay, without Google Translate. I'm getting there. I'm working on it so hard. It's a dream. It's a goal. But at the time, I could barely read it. But I bought it anyway. So if you have ever been to France or heard about France, they love butter. I thought it was interesting that I bought a book about butter and all the ways to use butter before going to Nantes. I did not know, but you will too. Ready? After our little stay, we got ready and we went right into the city. And we went straight to Les Machines de Lîle. And it is this amazing, interactive, mechanical experience. It is genius. I imagine it being some kind of imagination of a grown man who still had these boyhood dreams, but is also an engineer of some sort. Almost like a modern day Da Vinci or Michelangelo. Okay, like combined. It is really cool. I do see it going around viral all over social media, but it's not the same as actually being there. So if you get a chance, you should go. It's very interactive. Everyone can participate. You can ride on these animals. Not just the giant elephant, but also the crane, the sloth. No, I don't think you can ride on the sloth. I think the caterpillar, the spider. It's like a darker imagination of a child, I feel like, where it's these animals brought to life through machines and almost a way to like study them. I don't know. It's very hard to explain. It is such a cool experience. We did buy this separately, which I'll get into in a minute. Actually, let's get into it now. We went and paid for it ourselves. Later on, we did buy the Nantes pass for the city, and it is included in that. So that was kind of a bummer, but it's fine. We don't regret it. We get there and we not only buy the museum type experience where you go in and they basically have employees in there and they rotate. So you'll see the same person explaining what this is, and they do it in their own way and get volunteers and participants, and you just kind of rotate around the room, and different people will come in and take over for either different animals or just because it's been a while. You don't wait. You just start wherever the group is, and then you just keep going till you get back to where you started. This was really nice because you can really participate. They choose for you kind of who's going to participate. Our son was in there, and I was surprised because I didn't even know he had talked to somebody about doing it. He just like walked up there, and I was like, where are you going? And like, he knew what he was doing. I don't know. He had a great time though. And he is much better at French now, but luckily they also speak in English. So if you want to participate and you can't fully understand the instructions they're giving to you, they can switch to English for you, which is very nice, especially when you're traveling with kids. With my son immediately getting to participate, of course, my daughters were just jumping to participate. Not the youngest. She was a little nervous. To her imagination and reality, that line is still blurred. And it's hard for her to understand that even though these things are moving, it's people and machines that are making them move. So she was a little nervous. Fair enough. But the older two girls were just ready to participate. So I mentioned that you just kind of rotate around. So when we did rotate around, one daughter got to participate, but not really in the way that she was hoping, and the other one didn't. So we just rotated again. We weren't in a rush. You do have a time slot for when you ride the elephant, and it worked out for us to do it again. Now, if it was more crowded, I don't think this would be a very fair or wise thing to do, because one, it could take forever, and two, maybe you're taking an opportunity from somebody who doesn't have the luxury of extra time before their ride or before they have to go. It wasn't super crowded. It was actually mostly empty. After everybody got their turn to participate, there's another section of the museum that is more museum-like less interactive, but very educational, very cool. After the high levels of interaction, though, my kids just mostly walked through it. They were not as interested, and they were very excited to go ride the elephant. When we arrived, the elephant was standing inside the warehouse. Of course, they got excited. It actually, now that I'm seeing all the floats of the Carnival in Italy, it is very much like that, where it is just impressive. It is amazing. In my opinion, watching the elephant from the ground is a way cooler experience than riding it. I love that we got to ride it, and the kids, of course, walked up to the very top of the head, and they were able to see everything. But I do still feel like it was cooler to see it from the ground. You don't get to really see what the elephant's doing from up there, but we were on the top level. Maybe in the middle level you could see more, but they really wanted to be at the top. We did rotate with some kids. Technically, you're not supposed to move when the elephant's moving because they're worried about people getting hurt. But we did rotate because other kids wanted to see. And it's very small up there. My 4 kids took up the whole area. And so, yeah, we just took turns. It's fun to watch because the elephant will spray people and you'll just see people running in front of it, kind of teasing the driver. It's really fun. It's just a fun, great experience. When we were all done with the machines, of course, we went down to the gift shop. We bought this amazing elephant that you restructure out of cardboard. We got a memory game with all of the machines on it. So apparently there are multiple stops, which later on we see later in our trip, where there's these machines. And it has more of those kind of machines on these memory cards. And we play that every day. I feel like it's every day. We just had such a great experience. We wanted to take it home with us so much that we got quite a few souvenirs. I don't regret it. I actually love it because when I'm walking around my house, I see the things, or when I put up the ornaments, I see it, and it's good memories. So in order to get from the elephant ride to the souvenir shop, you actually go through this kind of treetop experience where you walk through these like high bridges down these stairs, and it leads you back down to the souvenir shop. I cannot tell you. It's such a cool experience. Your kids will love it. And they're so good with kids. So sweet, so patient, so good. After the museum, we went to find lunch. I don't remember if we actually walked back to our van and drove it closer to the city center or if we just walked. I really don't remember. I wish I did. In this area of the city that we were is this large fountain. And you can see some scaffolding structures off to the side. And you see these beautiful old sculptures. And when you look at the fountain, you see these very modern looking people on the fountain. They had replaced the sculptures that used to represent different aspects of society with modern ones. I don't know if that's a permanent display. But while we were there, it was fairly new, not just because the statues were still in the scaffolding, but also because even locals were taking videos and photos of it and talking about it. We ate lunch in this big square. I think it's called a Grand Place. After that, we just followed our desires, really. Shopping, looking around, all the things. In all of this shopping, where did we stop? But yet another bookstore. We might have a problem. Maybe we should just go to libraries. We got more French books. And what was really cool, I was asking kids to find books that they'd actually read at home. Because we have a lot of board books, a lot of baby books, and we wanted something else to add to the library. And one of the books that my daughter got was the book she was reading for her summer reading, but in French. It's the Wonder Book about like August and all the things. And she got it in French. It's pretty cool. She has not really picked it up that much since school has started. It's been a little intense, but it's really cool to have. I'm hoping we get there soon. Okay, remember how I was telling you how this was giving me Austin and Huntsville vibes, especially with like the arts and uniqueness? There's art everywhere. It's incorporated everywhere. We'll get into more of that later, but the first thing that we came across, besides the cool fountain, was this structure with what I think was a pregnant woman, and her belly was poking out of the ground and her legs like straddled, poking out of the ground, almost like she was about to give birth. I'm telling you, travel really does not just encourage, but kind of forces conversations that maybe you weren't ready to have yet. I think it's a good thing. I think tons of communication and talking and education in safe ways is great. It just was, sure, yeah, we could talk about that. With our late lunch and all of our shopping, we were definitely ready to check in. When it was finally time to check in, we went back to the van and drove it over not very far to the Nantes camping. I'm pretty sure this is our kids' favorite camping site ever. It's just outside the city. You walk outside of this camping ground across the street and there's the tram. Right there, you're in the city. There's a walking trail just behind it. My son actually, this shows you how very different of a parent I am in France than here. He walked by himself to go fishing in the little creek behind the camping grounds on his own. And then the next day, he went on a run by himself. I would never let him do that here. No, I wouldn't. When we checked in, they told us about all the amenities that there were, including a pool, which had already closed by the time we got there, so it kind of closed a little bit earlier. It had a cafe. No, it was a restaurant. It had a restaurant because they served pizza and things, but they also had a bakery, a play area, a playground, life-size chess. There was mini golf. There's another game that I wasn't even sure what it was, so I didn't participate. We didn't participate. Animals. They had goats. Huh. But it was great. I don't think you're supposed to feed the goats, from what I remember. All the campsites now just kind of blend together, so it's kind of hard to just remember this one. But those are the things I distinctly remember. Oh, yes. So Nantes, it had a couple, I want to say a few sanitation sites, which is where you shower, go to the bathroom, wash your dishes, and even the laundry. It was a little more spread out, which was nice. And we were further in the back, which was nice until it was time to take the trash out, because the trash was outside of the gate of the whole campsite. It was fine. The reason I also remember this distinctly is because I got a pretty nasty stomach bug, and having to run to a restroom was... What is the opposite of a highlight? A nightmare? I don't know. Something I'll remember forever, but not in a good way. Anyways, so that was our first day in Nantes. We checked in. The kids were sad about the pool, so we did hurry and grab some mini golf. So the next morning, we went ahead and bought the Nantes pass to use for the next 48 hours. This includes transportation, access to a lot of museums and experiences. There was literally so much to do. And then they gave us a map. And on this map is a green line. And this green line is literally in the city on the ground. And you can follow it where you need to go. I got disoriented a little bit a couple times, but leave it to my little map readers, those two from before, where I was like, they get it from their dad, I don't know. They were the leaders in this. They were like, we know where to go. Okay, why not? Let's go. Worst could happen is we just get lost in a different spot of the city, and then we whip out our phone. So we started the day just mostly getting into the city and starting to follow the green line. We found some of the cool signs. There is like a sign tour. You can follow those around, and then we took a picture of one behind us. It's pretty fun. And there were so many unique art pieces throughout the city. It was just so interactive. The whole city is interactive, and I loved it so much. We got to the Château de Duc de Bretagne. It's this massive house, mansion, turned museum. This is where I saw The Great Wave by Hokusai. When we were buying our tickets to get to the museum for the chateau, she was like, oh yeah, it's not worth it. Don't worry about it. Definitely worth it. Why didn't we just go? I was so mad when later I found out that they also had this going on at the Met in New York. And I was like, definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. So cool. So, a little sad about that. It's fine. I'll just have to figure it out and go somewhere else. I don't know. This museum did captivate the attention of my children. There was lots to see. It wasn't necessarily like touch things and things like that. There's a lot of listening stations. There is also like a kid area where you can touch things. It's like you put your hand in and try to feel what it is and guess what it is. And then there's also a section, like almost like a little library. And my kids just stayed there and read through the books. They were all in French, obviously, but they tried. And they also mostly looked at the pictures. This is also where the original cookie factory light is kept. The iconic LU butter cookies used to be made in Nantes. The factory used to be in Nantes. They've since moved. I don't know where. Sorry. That was really cool. This is where I'm starting to pick up on the butter, the vision about the butter. So after the chateau, we came out. This is where the line kind of meets. We followed the line towards the chapel. We did not go inside, but it is a little tricky to know where to go from there. So we followed the green line in the direction that took us towards this almost like popping waters for kids to play at. I mean, it is summer, and there were tons of kids playing in it. My kids did not have a change of clothes, so they were allowed to play in as much as they were comfortable getting wet, but also wearing those clothes and walking in those clothes the rest of the day. We have had chafing moments in past adventures, so they knew what this meant. So I just let them, it's a learning moment for them. So they played in that for a little while, and then we continued on mostly to go get McDonald's. I cannot tell you how many times we got McDonald's on this trip. I was over it. So over it. I do trust the food in Europe way more. And in France, it actually says that the beef is sourced from local cows, which was nice. They just ate chicken nuggets mostly. My son, he was hit or miss with it, whatever he was feeling for the time. I was over it, but they ate it. And it was cheap, and it was right next to this giant serpent fish playground. It was near that, it's like a curved soccer field and a mirror. And nobody was on it, ever. I felt a little weird even just crossing it to get from the McDonald's to the playground. I definitely waited for other people to cross it before I did it. Still don't know if it was okay or not, but I did do it. This was more of like chill time. We had lunch, we played, we walked around and played. Just a lot of playing, a lot of slow. It did feel like we could literally live there. I know that everybody says that. They're like, oh my gosh, I could live here. This was different. This was like a place where you can see how you could legit live here every day, not just be a tourist. Next, we went to the Place de Buffet, and I'm pretty sure Buffet is the statue where he's stepping on solid square with one leg, and then the other leg is like sticking out like an A, like one leg, two legs, and it's over nothing. We used this time to get to know the history of these art pieces and what it was, and we just learned little tidbits along the way and took pictures. And the kids thought it was funny for me to be under the foot, like it was going to step on me at any moment. I don't know. The next step was trying to get to the planetarium and kind of more like that side of town. And we did take a tram to get us pretty far, but then we had to walk. When we walked, we came across these shoes going up the stairs. This is called le bruit des bottes. Le bruit des bottes. This is called let me try. This is called le bruit des bottes. Bruit. I cannot. I work so hard on the R's. Why is that so hard? Anyways, it's like the procession of boots. It's led by a pair of like clown shoes. And it's supposed to represent the fragility of democracy and how, like, the steps that lead to, like, authoritarianism, which I find very interesting now. So it was very somber. The last time we had seen any statues of shoes, it was when we were in Hungary, and it represented the victims of the political times. That was very somber. That was a hard discussion. It was also hard to know how much to share and how much to shelter. It's very tricky. We passed by, let me try again, les bruits des bottes. Anyway, we passed the shoes on the stairs, and we walk very uphill. So there's an option to go up the stairs, we had a stroller, or up the steep walk/drive up to the planetarium. When we got to the planetarium, it turns out it's very, very small. And it runs on like scheduled like shows. This is not what I was hoping for. And to be honest, the kids weren't really that interested. Part of that could have been because they didn't really have a gift shop, which, come on, guys. So we did make an appointment for the next show while we went to the Jules Verne Museum down the street. This one was really cool. It was down the road and kind of on the edge of this cliff. The Jules Verne Museum is a multi-level museum. Luckily, they had a elevator because we had the stroller. And I was tired of carrying it up and down stairs. But little did I know, there was more of that later on. And you get to see his work. You get to see his childhood, what inspired him, all about his life. You get to create your own. And there was even like a video game, which I didn't quite understand. My kids tried to play it. It gave like Oregon Trail kind of vibes, but I was enjoying just exploring and looking around. And then on the outside of the doors and the bottom is this big open patio. Beautiful, and you can like look over the river, you can look over the city. Just absolutely stunning. Just such a great place. And if you weren't with kids, or if you're with kids that are heavy readers, you could like bring a book and read out there. We did not stay long out there. So, after the Jules Verne Museum, we decided against going back to the planetarium. Not only did the Jules Verne Museum take way less time than we thought, we still had about 2 hours before our show, and we were about to go to the other side of the river. We decided to carry on. Our next stop was getting down to this botanical garden. It was under construction, of course. Why? There was still a section that was peaceful and kept. I think they're expanding. It looks amazing. I don't know. I wish it was done when we got there. But it's like this man-made waterfall experience of botanicals and little tree frogs and little fish. And it's just such an immersive experience. It's almost like they wanted to bring the wild into the city. So I just love that because it's so unique. To get there, though, from the museum, you could see down into this botanical garden. And the only way to get down there is through a billion stairs. So we took the stairs. We came around, and I'm all flustered from how many stairs I just carried the stroller down. I'm like giving him my Nantes pass and all the things, and he's like, whoa, it's free. You can go in. And then so kind, so nice to me. Like, obviously I'm a hot mess at this point, and he's like, it's fine, just go. It's free, it's part of the city. Just his whole vibe was just so welcoming. It was very nice. There was a trail that led to this waterfall. I've heard you can swim in it. I got asked if you could swim in it. We did not swim in it. But there's fish in there and frogs, and I would imagine that would ruin their habitat, maybe. We did not. But we watched for a long time. My kids just sat there, enjoying the nature, enjoying the little tiny animals. And I learned the word for green tree frog. But now I've forgotten, so I'm going to look it up. Green tree frog French. It was so cute. A rainette. Rainette. Like little rain. Isn't that cute? That's not how they say rain. But like when you read it, it looks like that. Rainette. 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 Now we have to listen to it say it.
Rainette.
That's what I thought. I'm pretty sure she was American and she was visiting too, but she knew way more French than me. And she was like a wealth of knowledge. And while the kids were just hanging out, enjoying nature, she taught me how to say rainette, which is like tree frog. And I think it's even like specifically like grenouille is like a green tree frog or just a frog. I'm not sure. Obviously, I have work to do with my French, but she shared some knowledge and it just felt so connecting and no judgment that I didn't already know this and all the things. It was so fun. When they were done staring at the fish and the frogs and the water, we did try to explore a little bit, but the paths were very short. I'm sure they're pretty impressive now that the work is, I think it's done. But at the time, it was a little anticlimactic after the waterfall. So we just kind of briskly walked through and out. And from there, we walked over to where the ferry boat would be to take us to the other side of the river. The Grand Port de Maritime. I don't know how to say that in French. Maritime? The port. But before you get to the port, you come across a lot of murals, a lot of like graffiti-esque type art everywhere. It's a little more dingy, but not really. Not like dirty and you're not concerned. It's not like Marseille. It was very eclectic, very Austin, very Low Mills vibes. And I was like, I've been here before, just in a different way, in a different country. It was so cool. Like, I did not feel cool enough to be there. And they had this flea market, which we were a little bit unhinged at this point, so we did not participate in the flea market. We were not in a position to shop with our eyes, if you know what I mean. So we went over to the one slide that they had over there to wait for the ferry boat. The ferry is included in your Nantes pass for transportation, so you don't have to worry about that. Waiting for the ferry boat was like maybe 5 minutes. It arrives, everybody rushes off, and then everybody rushes on almost simultaneously. You can bring your bike on there in case you bring a bike to tour around Nantes. Definitely dogs are welcome. You see them everywhere. And luckily, kids are welcome on this ferry boat. It's a fun little ride, just right across the river, and then everyone piles off, and then we go to our next spot. Where it takes you, you're kind of at the far end of everything, and you just follow the green line, and as you pass it, you pass boutiques, other little exhibits, and museums. We stopped at one exhibit along the way it's usually like they have something new often. So it wasn't a standing exhibit. It was really cool. And they were eager to talk to you about every piece of artwork. And one of the women took a special interest in us, which was so kind. And she explained the artwork, the thinking behind it, and the kids were just enthralled, which was shocking to me because about 2 minutes ago, before the ferry boat, they were unhinged, you know what I mean? So, and they had a bathroom. So, that could help too. After this cool exhibit, I actually had the kids line up because it was talking about turning away from things that are causing harm and choosing your own direction. And so we had them line up and I took a picture. It was pretty cool. This exhibit also had a a little souvenir shop too. It's very tourist trappy, it's fine. But here, Milo picked a specific book that was about the human body in French. I thought that was cool. Way to learn body parts. What I didn't notice until after we bought it was almost the last page. So every part of this book, it's like it rotates and you can like change what body part it is. And it kind of labels the different body parts, right? Even if it's in the wrong spot. We get to the section where there's genitalia. And again, a new conversation that I wasn't necessarily looking to have. It was fine. We still have the book, and they bring it up a lot. The shock and awe, really. Like I said before, it's like this long walkway with like shops and exhibits along the way, right? And this wide walkway with the green line, of course, off to the left is kind of more of an art exhibit that's always there. It's these rings, and they light up at night. So if you get the opportunity to either take a night cruise on the river or come back at night, it's really cool. I went and looked at pictures to decide if we were going to do it or not. We did not. But it's really cool to see, and it goes all the way down along the river. About midway, actually, there's like a giant cafeteria type eating vendor area where we got water, crepes, and ice cream, of course. And inside is this weird foamy type play area, which is also one of like the touristy things to do, is experience this. We were there for a while. These are the moments where you kind of catch your breath. The kids get to play. I do feel like Nantes had a very family-friendly vibe, so I would really recommend going. When we were done playing, we walked some more, following the green line, over to this giant yellow crane. This is another thing that was like very, very Huntsville, very Austin, very unique thing. And it like, I think it used to be used often with being at a port and getting goods off boats. So this is called the Île de Nantes, where we took the ferry boat to. This is where the Machine de Lîle is, which we didn't know in like until later when we were walking around. And there's a couple of giant cranes. I think it's called Titan, and it's giant and yellow, and they just left it there even though I don't think it's being used. You pass kind of through it to get to this play area where it's made to look like you're on the moon. It's shaped above, like they built it up to be little craters of the moon, and in the craters are trampolines. So kids are like bouncing on the moon, you know, like anti-gravity. And above you see this big Earth in the sky. So it's like you're looking down at Earth. I think they hold events there, some concerts. I think there's like a music festival that's usually there too. Right now there was nothing, and it was just us having a good time. And we stayed there again for quite a while. It was really, really hot that day though. So it wasn't as long as I think they wanted because it just got so hot. But as we walked back towards getting back home, we came across this kind of Machines de Lîle type carousel. It was so cool. Of course we rode it. It's like multiple levels. Only certain ages could go on certain levels. The kids loved it, and they got to pick the little creature that they rode, and it moved, and it was amazing. Come on, come on. Let's control the boat. The little walnut is killing me. That is so cute. You're gonna control the boat? Yeah. Arthur's gonna control the dragon. And then we passed by the Machines de Lîle, and we interacted with the elephant. We debated on getting sprayed again because it was so hot. It was so hot. But it was fun to see the elephant again. It was a little bit of a bummer to realize that that was included in the pass. So don't make that mistake like us. Boop. And the first day we did stop by the tourist office. I love stopping by the tourist office. Sometimes they have the best souvenirs, definitely good maps, lots of things that maybe you didn't know about. And it kind of had like a little bit of a like exhibit going on. I was in there looking for souvenirs, and I went in there for a specific reason. I think it was unrelated to souvenirs whatsoever, but I don't remember really. What I did come across is this shirt? Regarde. Look. Right? And it says Team Beurre Sal, which means Team Salted Butter. I don't know what the division is about it, but I just loved it. So, we'll do part 2.